Wait, hold on. I'll get it right. No,
Wow.
I'll get it right. No, hold on. I'm trying to. All four. There we go.
Keep trying.
Hey.
Hey.
Hockey on Tap podcast. This is episode 90, and I still haven't worked the controls. Figured out how to work the controls. This is Hockey on Tap podcast. I am your host, Bill Dean. I'm here, of course, with my three co-hosts, Shorts Guy, Schwim, and Little Steve. We are brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy of Sam Wu and myself. Well, not really myself, because obviously I can't work the controls. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple, and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Please leave us a 5-star review if you would be so kind. Gentlemen, what are we drinking today? Let me actually...
It's a stout night in...
It is a stout.
Wherever you all are.
It is
Jersey.
stout.
Oh,
yeah,
do we have...
In Jersey. Yeah, you can say
Jersey.
Jersey.
Sure.
Oh, in Morris County? In Morris County? Oh, no, Sean Shorts.
No, Shorts Guys in Sussex.
Nah.
Sussex.
Yep, Sussex.
I'm in.
Yep, so...
The hell am I?
Northern Jersey. In Northern Jersey. Oh, you just sneezed all over.
All right, Northern Jersey, since we just saw The Northman yesterday. So, in honor of that excellent
Pretty good movie.
film,
Wait, you saw
I
The
am
Northman
having... Yeah, yesterday.
Thanks for the
Afternoon.
invite. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
He specifically said, "No, I'm not inviting Dean." I'm like, "Okay." Steve.
That's what it sounds like.
I got
we
home.
legitimately talked about it on Saturday about wanting to see the Northman this weekend.
Yeah, we did. I got home from your place Saturday, and I was literally laying in bed, like lights off, everything, and I was just like, let me see when the Northman's playing, and I literally just bought myself a ticket without asking anybody, and then I texted Schwim immediately after. I was like, let me see if somebody else wants to go. So I texted Schwim, and he was down.
Literally, our chat is probably the first thing on his thing, and he went and sought out Joe Schwim.
Yeah,
and not you.
No,
I
wasn't one
in everyone's hearts. It was really good. It was a really good movie.
excellent movie. Yes.
Now I have to go see.
Everyone go see it.
Yeah, definitely recommend.
All right.
So we're drinking stouts. Steve, what are you drinking again?
Drinking stouts. I didn't even say it, but I am going to have this 2017 oak-aged vanilla worldwide stout by Dogfish Head. So worldwide stout is, to my knowledge, I believe is one of the first rounds of beers that they brewed when they first started. And this is one of the variants, oak-aged vanilla worldwide stout. Ages very well, and this is an alcohol volume that ranges from 17 to 20%. So
Nice.
It's going to be a long night.
Not bad.
Or a short night.
Maybe approves.
Hey, cheers
for
for vegan beers.
Here's vegan beers.
a
Cheers.
long short night.
Shrimp?
I am drinking. I don't know if I've had this on here before, but it's another Nightmare Brew. This one's called Soricide. This is basically the brewmaster's sister who we put on the cover there. She's getting impaled by the Grim Reaper from behind. Pretty cool artwork. Soricide is the Grim Reaper's hand is coming through her chest. See it?
That's got to be a high alcohol volume too. I'm guessing.
Yeah, this is
being Nightmare.
it's over 15. I think it's 15. Yeah, 15.5%. What is it made of? It's made with honey roasted peanuts. Ingredients: salt.
I like that. Honey roasted peanuts, nice.
Pressed peanut sweepings.
So not vegan, by the way.
I don't know.
not vegan.
Yeah, peanut butter, Ecuadorian cacao, or however you pronounce that, and Indian vanilla. And I'm pairing it with.
Ooh, Girl
that I
Scout
got from our
nice.
late great friend Jeff. Rest in peace. His daughter was selling Girl Scout cookies, and I think I bought something like 12 or 13 boxes of cookies from her. So thank you.
Did you buy like one of each or something?
I bought I bought one of each, and then like double of the ones that I like
Do we
tag-alongs.
appreciate how wonderful this? Look at this is like the holy grail
That's
of
pretty awesome. That's a
chalice.
good looking
Steve,
paw right there.
whatever you want to call that.
Oh, I have my cup upstairs.
Off
Here,
I'm
centered.
going
While
right out
Shorts
of the
Guy
can.
does his
Here you
beer,
go.
I will go get my fancy chalice.
Well, unfortunately, my beer is short because I'm not having any beer tonight. I'm just going to be a stout gentleman in the screen.
There you go.
I had to stick with water tonight, so I'll just be a stout gentleman on the screen. I'm drinking a very crisp, clear water in a Cape May
Ooh,
mug.
it is crisp and clear.
It is crisp and clear. It comes from 350 plus feet down below my house, so I'll take it.
Oh, well water, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Shorts
It
guy,
is
I was
well
almost in the same boat as you because my fridge is barren right now. So now I'm reaching into the aged collection.
Into
I
the
thought
reserves.
episode 90, 100, episode 100, I'll bust out something even more special than this. And
We should
Yeah,
all
that's
do
what
it.
we'll
more
have to do
age.
for
Special
that's what
beer
we'll have
at
to do for
100.
episode 100. Yeah, we'll have to figure something out.
Let's
Yeah,
do
we'll be
something.
together because I have a beer for Steven to drink, so we'll do it at 100 now.
I
Oh,
don't know.
boy.
I
Actually,
didn't agree to that. The
you-
power hour, yeah, maybe.
No, yeah, you can still drink it then. Cheers.
I
All right,
have,
so Shorts guy, you went through your beer?
Yeah, I'm not
Didn't
having
have
any.
one.
Okay.
He's just the stout gentleman on the screen.
Yes.
All right. Oop, damn it. Smaller screen. So this is by, what did I say it was? It is 7 Island Coffee Maple Vanilla Moctezuma, an Imperial Stout. It's 14%. And this bad boy has barley malt, oats, hops, maple syrup, coffee, and vanilla bean.
Okay.
So, try it
Shorts
out.
guy, you don't have an Untapped account?
We all got vanilla.
I do, but I just don't have much.
Oh, there's
checked in there.
sludge at the
I don't
bottom.
think I don't-
Up.
I don't think I ever.
Total sludge.
There's the syrup.
Or syrup.
That's slightly off-putting. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Ketchup or catsup?
Can you just tell Lisa I'd like to drink a nice glass of syrup like I do every morning?
Oh, wow.
Even
Yeah,
though it says
there's-
grapey, but I want to replace it with syrup.
It is solid. in here.
Everything. Oh man. Yeah. So I'm looking at my Untapped account, and there's like only like a couple beers checked in.
Are you in the single digits?
So
Yes.
this is
I have
5
four.
years, 8
Nice.
to the day, basically. It's
I
pretty
have
cool.
4 beers checked in.
Okay. We got all our beers in a row announced. Let's get to what's on tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. Some pretty good hockey news. Actually, and this is for the East. Shorts guys team's not really involved in this, but
No.
for the first time in NHL history, all 8 playoff teams from a conference are at 100 points or more. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
First time in history. It just shows you the disparity between, obviously, the top and bottom of that division. And I will give you the standings just so you can see. So the lowest team in the conference is, of course, the Washington Capitals, 100 points. The next closest, the 9 seed, is at 80, 20-point difference. The difference between Florida at number 1 at 120 and the Canadians at the worst spot at 16 is 70 points. It's 120 to 51.
Wow.
Yes. So, and then you do the differentials for plus minus. Every team is plus 30 or greater. The Bruins are at plus 30. All the other teams, the bottom 8 are, Islanders are negative 10 or negative 11, but Columbus on down is minus 35 or greater. Montreal Canadiens are minus 107 differential. While the Florida Panthers are a plus 100 differential. 200 goals separate the top two the best team and the worst team.
You know
Meanwhile-
what I was thinking of? What I was thinking of,
Minus
not to interrupt you.
50.
Well, yeah, I'm going to interrupt
Yeah.
you anyway.
Please do.
How long has this? How long have these 8 teams been in position for the playoffs? I know we've been talking about for months that
I
it's
think
going to be
Christmas time.
these 8 teams, but right, it's maybe before Christmas time. I don't know
'Cause I
when.
think
I don't remember. And which team was the last to leave
It was-
the top 8? out of
I
the
know
teams
exactly
that
who it
are-
was. It was Columbus Blue Jackets. They were technically
Yep,
for
there's
a
Melvin.
little while there. I think it was the first month or two. They were in a playoff position, and then they were the
And
ones
then
that fell
no-
out.
So I think so. At least since probably December, sometime in December,
Mhm.
it's been these 8 teams, and here we are. It's almost May, and it's the same 8 teams. It's a
Mhm.
crazy time,
pretty
and
crazy.
usually the East. Usually the East is a lot more competitive, but I mean it's very competitive for those 8 teams because most of them are pretty
Yeah.
close to each other. But everything underneath is just
All right,
not at
so
all.
we will.
Hey, someone's got to be the base. Someone's
true.
got to hold it all up.
Someone's got to
So-
be
the
the
Devils are doing.
basement.
So speaking of the basement and the Eastern Conference, still,
Which Dean
if
is in
you
right
were-
now.
next week, next year, next season, which one of the 8 teams in the East or the Eastern Conference could you see dropping out, and which team could you see jumping up from the basement? I know we don't have an off season, but it's just something, off the top of your heads, who do you think would jump? Shorts guy's obviously going to say his Devils because he's a homer bias, but which one other than Shorts guy's Devils would you say? SG.
One drops and one rises.
A
That's
team
tough.
drops and another rises.
You're talking about as of right now, or with
Yeah,
potential for
Today,
during the
today, no, today.
not
today.
us. No, not like I can't even say that the Devils will,
I mean,
because
you could, if you want to predict the Devils are going to get someone big, then you can go ahead and say them.
see, I don't even know what their I don't even know what their potential targets are. I mean, they made one move at the trade deadline. They brought in Hammond, which is not the goaltender that's going to bring us to the playoffs next year. So, I'm looking at the bottom the bottom mix of teams. Like,
So you got the Isles, the Blue Jackets, the Sabres, Red Wings, Senators, Devils, Flyers, Canadians.
I don't know.
Can we
I'm
say
gonna be honest?
none
I
of
don't
the
know.
Crazy thing
I'm-
about all those teams basically is that they're all pretty much rebuilding.
Yeah.
All
Other
of them.
than
I don't
the
think
But I
any.
think-
I don't.
I think
I
the
don't
Islanders
really think
probably.
any from
the
the top
Islanders,
8 is going to drop. I have a hard time seeing anyone from the top 8 dropping. Potentially the Islanders, but the problem is, as much as I love Lou and I have a big, deep respect for Lou, I don't know if he's capable of bringing the Islanders up to where they need to be. That's the only potential team that I can see. I don't know if Columbus has it in them. Buffalo's not doing it. Detroit's not doing it. Ottawa's not doing it. We're not doing it. The
See,
Flyers aren't, and Montreal. The only
I
team
think
that I
Ottawa
can see
can.
maybe.
I was
they
going to
can make
say
a push.
Ottawa. Ottawa's was my choice.
I
the
can
way
see
I think
maybe,
Ottawa can.
maybe,
Honestly,
maybe
based
Montreal
based
could
on
have a
how
puncher's
they're playing now,
chance.
Buffalo's
Montreal
playing
could potentially
a
have
million
a chance
times better
if
the
if
second half
Carey
of the
Price
season.
plays the entire season.
They could.
Yeah,
You never know.
Yeah,
Carey
Carey-
Price might not even be there, and we could save that for an off-season show.
That's
Yeah.
possible too.
Price might not even be there. And
I think
there's a great
I think every
segue.
team has potential to be better. It's hard to.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing to analyze from all this is which of these 8 teams is going to drop enough where one of those other teams can actually jump into one of those playoff spots. It's going to be tough because most of them are going to look the same next year.
Well, so the
Um,
only team that might not be the
not
same is the
improved.
Bruins.
I was
Well,
going
also
to say
Toronto,
one of those two
Toronto
wild
might
card
not too.
teams would have to
Well,
be if you have to pick somebody. I think it would be one of
Yeah.
those two teams.
Well, I say the Bruins because obviously age. You don't know what I don't think Patrice Bergeron's going to leave, but if he did leave, that would be a huge hole. Their goalie situation is still weird with the Ullmark swim in tandem. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, you got a lot of UFAs and guys that could leave, and if that happens, then that's a big shake. And then Capitals just age in general, right? Ovi's another year older, Backstrom's another year older. They seem to be getting rid of their top guys, but. So
What's crazy about Pittsburgh though, with the potential of like Brian Rust leaving, Evgeny Malkin leaving. Evgeny Malkin will probably stay, but if all 3 leave, these 3 big guys, Rust, Letang,
Gensel?
and Malkin, if they all leave, now Gensel's locked in for a while.
he's one more year. Oh, okay.
No, he's there at least until Sid in 3 years, at least.
Oh.
But if they lose all those guys, if they decide to walk, Pittsburgh has like almost $30 million in cap space if they don't sign those guys. So that's a ton of cap space that they get. But you would think that they would use most of that to acquire those guys. So you're just assuming they're not going to have cap space. But they're also going to dump some more cap space. So I don't know what Pittsburgh is going to look like, to be honest with you. I hear that Detroit's they're ready to open up the vault for Brian Rust. So I assume he's going to leave. I actually have a feeling they're going to re-sign Raquel. And I think Letang will also probably leave, and I think Malkin will be back. And then from there, Who knows through free agency, who they sign. We shall see.
Maybe they'll go hard after Johnny Ham and Cheese. Bring him back to the East Coast where he's from.
That would be interesting, but I can't imagine why Calgary wouldn't pay him whatever the heck he wants. But
maybe he wants to come back home.
It's true.
Sort of.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're talking about like Flyers potentially because that's like basically besides the Devils, that's like Jersey's number 2 team.
Well, I think he was a Flyers. He was.
Yeah, the Flyers have been rumored for how many years now?
There.
It's been years that he's been rumored to go to the Flyers now. It's been at least like 2-3 years that he's been rumored to go there. So that's never that's not going to die until he goes there or goes somewhere else.
What are they going to do? How are they signing these players? They have no cap space, and they have horrible contracts that I can't imagine teams are going to want to take on if they try to go the trade route. But I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. And they have what's his face is the coach. Your guy, Steven, Mike Yeo.
Yeah,
former Pittsburgh Penguin. He's their interim coach. There's no way. I can't see them retaining him. I think they're going to bring in a whole new coach and everything.
I would if I were them.
Yeah. Speaking of which, they just scored. Now it's 2-1 Chicago.
Cool.
There you go.
Former New York Ranger scored.
Oh yeah, who?
Mr. Hayes.
Ooh. We'll get actually into Mr. Hayes later on. Speaking of the Masterson Trophy, so kind of a segue to what Shorts Guy was talking about. Who could players get? And one of the names that could possibly be available for goaltending is Robin Lehner, because as far as I see it, that bridge is burned, and they might have issues with a goalie in the future. So if you didn't know what happened, basically this past week. Robin Lehner had a bad game. I think he let up a few goals and was pulled. I don't exactly remember which game it was, but he was pulled. So the next game, and after that game, pretty much Pete DeBoer was, kind of throwing it at the feet of the goalie, saying that it was pretty much his fault. The next game, Robin Lehner gets the start, even though Logan, he wanted Logan to do to be the starter, and he made a comment in his post-game presser about how he gets paid and they kind of have to have him in the net because of his contract, meaning he doesn't really want to play him, but because he's getting paid and because his upper management's telling him to play him, that he had to start him. So he starts him in the game and he lets in a pretty bad first goal, but then continues to stop 13 straight shots. He was 13 for 14 in the first period. At the end of the first period, they pull him for Logan Thompson. Is it Logan Thompson? Am I making that?
Thompson.
Yeah, they pull him for Logan Thompson in the second period. No injury, no nothing. Lehner obviously was very unhappy. He came out later that night and said that he was injured and basically wanted to, have season-ending surgery and go on the IR. Both ESPN and The Athletic report it. The next night, Pete DeBoer comes out and says he's not hurt, he's playing. He backs up Logan Thompson in the next game, and then we just get the news that now he is once again on the IR. He's done for the season. He will have surgery. And this is a team that's had some goalie, controversies in the past with Marc-Andre Fleury, the backstabbing, and a whole bunch of other things. And the common denominator is Pete DeBoer. So I guess my question is the Shorts Guy was, I don't remember him having goalie issues with the Devils. Was that the case? Did he ever have issues with goaltending?
He didn't have a tandem like a Fleury and a Lehner before.
But that's even more of an issue.
Hold on. Wait, I have to look up when Pete DeBoer was with the Devils.
Well, while you look that up,
when they went to the Cup final.
So my question to you guys is: do you think this is a bridge burned? Is he, because he's been a very big proponent of, don't mess with my medicals, don't tell people when I'm hurt, versus when I'm not hurt, or my timetables. He's very into players, having their due justice and being able to speak what they want. And the team's kind of rambled him around. And do you think this is the end of Robin Lehner in Vegas?
I think it's the end of DeBoer. I think they're going to fire him.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Because, Lehner's had injury problems this entire season, and we kind of knew it was going to happen when they ditched Fleury. That's the reason why they had both. But, if Vegas doesn't make the playoffs, that's a recipe for firing right there. I know it's the first season they'll miss the playoffs, and it may not necessarily be warranted based on that. But yeah, you sign this goaltender, and a very good goaltender when he's healthy, one of the better goaltenders in the league. You sign him to the mega contract. You got to stick with him, right? I mean, Logan Thompson's not the next guy. If they're serious about continuing on, they want to win a cup, right? And they're in position. They have a team that can compete for a cup. They didn't have the tandem of Leonard and Fleury, which is probably why they are where they are right now. And plus injuries. I mean, the entire team is injured, and losing Mark Stone obviously was really bad. But yeah, between Pacioretty out a lot of the year, Stone out most of the year, and now they got the hilarious cap issue that they have. I don't know. I agree with Schwim. I think it's DeBoer who's gonna go, not Leonard.
The GM could be let go too, because I was looking at some of the moves that the GM has made, and the people that they've shipped out of there. They shipped Suzuki out of there. He's doing well in Montreal. They got. I mean, they probably have to because of their cap issues.
Max Pacioretty. Well, they also got it for Pacioretty.
Well, they brought in. But they lost him. They lost Perron. They lost. They traded Tuck. Traded. A bunch of. They traded Fleury. Obviously, they got nothing for him.
Well, look where they're where they're at with their cap. What are they going to do about the cap? It's the most ridiculous cap situation I've ever seen. So yeah, I mean that could be they could have but how do you bring in a new GM when you're? I mean, I don't know who's coming off the books next season, honestly, but how do you they're going to be $10 million, between 10 and 20 million over the cap? How do you come in and just that's the first project you have to solve? And obviously they're going to be giving away guys like they gave away. What's his name? The defenseman who went to where'd he go? Not Schmidt, right? Nate Schmidt.
Oh yeah, Nate Schmidt.
Yeah. They traded him for nothing because they had to get rid of they had to just dump cap space. So it's you get like a 4th round
Riley
pick
Smith.
or something. Just he's a UFA, correct?
I don't think he's a UFA, but he's a $5 million guy. He's gone this offseason. And for basically peanuts, and he's a very good player.
William Karlsson's contract is looking so good right now.
Yeah. So here's the other question to you guys. Do you and obviously, the owner, Vegas, bright lights, wants a show. He's always going to, tinker with things. He's almost like a Steinbrenner in that way. Do you think this is something that's going to hurt Vegas in the long run? You see how top-heavy they are, how much he wants to just continually change over the team with the Donov trades and, all this different things that have to happen in order for them to, for him to,
I think we're starting
to kind of feel
to see it right now. I think it's the beginning right now. They're
the beginning of the end. Okay.
A little bit of their decline because they've been the first. What is this? Their 6th season, right? 5th season, 6th season.
Yeah. 6.
They've been good, since the year they came in. They went to the freaking Cup the first year, and I mean they haven't been back since. But they've been good, competitive every single year. And this year is a big drop off where. Let's face it, what are they, 3 or 4 points out, I think, right now? And I think their season comes down to their next game. I think they play tomorrow against Dallas. And that's the team they're trying to overtake. So that's a huge, huge game. They lost last night in the last seconds. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think San Jose tied the game with under a second left.
Yep.
And then they lost in a shootout. So
they let up 2 goals in 3 minutes.
You can't do that. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's the beginning of the end for them. I think they're coming back down to earth, and I don't know. They're going to be. They might be bad for a little bit, a little stretch here until they can get their cap issues under control. Until they can get maybe a new coach to bring a new kind of voice in there, a new culture. Get the goaltending situation settled a little bit more. Hopefully, Leonard maybe stays there and can stay healthy. But I don't know. I think they're coming back down to earth.
That's the problem. It's the problem with a win now mentality and failing. Yeah. This is what you're left with. If you go all in and bring in these big names and these big contracts and these big trades and whatever it is that you make to win now, and it doesn't work, everything looks like the wrong move because it's not like, you could criticize Tampa's acquisitions over the past couple of years, giving up 1st round picks like they're candy, right? And but they won back-to-back cups and are going to compete for a 3rd cup. Very legitimately a cup contender. So, you won, so it paid off. But when it doesn't pay off, you look
It looks
like you do
a
right
lot
now.
worse.
Yeah.
Oh my
So-
God, what a save!
Yeah,
So
Sorry, the Flyers goal just made a ridiculous save.
real quick. Talking about Pete DeBoer and goaltending issues. Pete DeBoer was the coach when the Devils traded for Corey Schneider, which started pretty much that big goaltending controversy in New Jersey, which ended up as a gigantic mess. Which saw Brodeur leave and then Snyder take over and not do very well. I mean, that wasn't going to be the be all end all of that team because there were other issues. But
Schneider was great on Hall's MVP year. Schneider was also fantastic.
Yeah, but that was after Brodeur left. So Pete DeBoer was there at the beginning of that goaltending controversy, which saw Brodeur leave and Schneider take over. So Tread is stretching. She's
Ben
had
Stone
enough of this conversation, I think.
Ben Stone on Facebook Live, very active. Saying Devils can win a cup. Like Steve said,
I love his optimism.
Yep.
Yeah, Ben. I love your optimism, but it's not going to be this year, dude.
And Steve said this
next year.
Steve said this multiple times that the Devils have a ton of great prospects and picks, but you have to be able to move those to get the big pieces in because that'll be the thing that if you can get one or two top line players, your team. I mean, with Jack Hughes, he looks fantastic, and that's come from a Ranger fan, and you guys have the pieces that can make some things going.
Already some impressive young players. You just need to fill out the roster and get that. You already probably have a solid third line and a decent maybe second line right now. Give Jack's top line whatever. Brad could go one or two, whatever. But you bring in fill out those lines. Bring in you need a goaltender. Got to find a goaltender. And bring in another guy. Dougie Hamilton can be a weapon, but he needs to be paired with the right player.
Yeah.
Playing with Jacob Slavin for so long was a blessing for Dougie Hamilton.
Yep.
So if you can bring in another guy who we were hoping Graves would be, but or Ty Smith. Right now they're on the fence, so you need some guy who can play like a Jacob Slavin, that shutdown guy that can let Dougie Hamilton do his thing. Run the power play, and then you compete, and that's it. That's a couple pieces right there that you can easily. I say easily get, but it's easier said than done. But it is, there's pieces available, and you're unfortunately going to have to overpay, like you did for Dougie Hamilton. But
I would go after Johnny Ham and Cheese, give him whatever he wants, or how about an offer sheet for Kevin Fiala? How about an offer sheet for Kevin Fiala?
Yeah,
Minnesota can't sign him.
Fiala's great, but I don't know if Fiala's like you need a Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau would turn that team. That's almost like a Artemi Panarin type acquisition.
Exactly. Yeah.
And which could turn the tide for your team like it did with the Rangers. So, and the Rangers had pieces, but you add Panarin, and then you had Zibanejad there too, and that's what you need. You need to you don't want to bring up the Rangers when it comes to like following strategies as a Devil fan, but the
Rangers
they did it right.
The Rangers and the Devils were on the same. The Rangers and the Devils were on the same plane, and the Rangers were able to pick up those pieces to move forward, whereas the Devils have not yet done that.
But it's always easier for the Rangers because it's New York City. Well, yes, the Rangers transitioned. They went from the best goaltender in the world and transitioned into like the next best goaltender.
Second best goaltender in the world. Yeah.
Second, behind Vasilevsky.
I said second.
It's just crazy how that you pass it right. Like you move on from one to the other like it's nothing. That is huge if you can figure that out. That is
lucky.
Not
absolutely
not easy. Yeah.
No, the other thing I was
you
guys
are lucky that you did that.
Yeah,
and that's the big thing, and we talked about it last night. That's the big thing the Devils need to do in this offseason is to get a goaltender that's not the Hamburglar, someone that's actually capable of winning games. I think there's some crazy stat where there was like it was either 20 points lost or 20 games lost from like a winning position that the Devils were in. They lost so many games from a winning position. Where the Devils would be in such a better place had they
holding
won
leads.
Those games. So
a lot of holding leads.
We just can't hold leads. We just can't hold leads.
The Florida game. What up in the Florida game? That
Up
Yeah.
6-2 in the third.
6-2.
6-2 going into the third, lose
That's
7-6 in overtime.
Yeah.
That
that's
right
bad.
there is a bone storm type of
Yep.
situation.
One other
we are
name
at that.
that, and it really depends on how the playoffs go. But Toronto, if Mitch Marner has a dud of a playoff, Devils go after this guy because I really do think he is a top 10 player in the league. And I mean,
You're gonna have to throw. I mean, you're gonna have to throw. You're gonna have to throw your big name picks or prospects.
I would
You're gonna have to part ways. I would too, because that changes your team right now. Instead of waiting to see. Yeah, because Holtz is what 19 years old, right?
This kid's
so
25.
by the time Holtz will be if he ends up being a major impact player, you're going to see that at 23, 24. You want to wait another 3-4 years for that, or get Mitch Marner right now?
Yeah, no,
that can improve your team immediately.
And he still probably
Marner's
won't
24.
be as good as Marner anyway.
Yeah,
probably not.
I think that there's very few players on this Devils team that are just unable to be moved or should not be moved. Jack, Nico, Jesper Bratt. Obviously Dougie Hamilton's not going to go anywhere.
I wouldn't give up on him after one season either.
No. And I wouldn't give up on Graves after one season either. Nope. But I think other than that, a lot of players are expendable, but it's a matter of, when that offer comes in and if that offer, I think the Devils need to take any and every phone call this summer when it comes to trying to bring up some.
There you go.
Trying to make this team better.
I think they should do a record amount of offer sheets, like an unprecedented amount of offer sheets.
I would.
The likes of which you've never seen before. That would be fantastic.
It would be.
I do have a question. Though for Shorts Guy, since I brought it up in conversation with one of our listeners the other day. Lindy Ruff, obviously, I don't. Right now, I don't think a change in coach is going to change much. I mean, you might be a little bit better, but you need the pieces. You need the pieces, but a change of coach, I think, is something that you're definitely going to need. Not imminently, but what do you think of if they let Lindy Ruff go and promote Kevin Dineen, who's doing so well with Utica? I mean, Utica is one of the best teams in the AHL right now. I think second best point-wise or something like that. A lot of success with the young guys that are developing in Utica already. Bring him up. It's almost like a Mike Sullivan thing. And, next season you're probably bringing up a bunch of guys from Utica also to play on the Devils team to fill some spots, because you're obviously not going to just fill roster spots through trades and signings. But coach the young guys because he's obviously having great success. I think that would be a pretty smart idea. And I would do it while they're building this roster now, to get these younger guys with their coach who can coach them and go from there.
So someone brought this up on the podcast last night, and I didn't catch the name who said it in the group in the chat, but it was a great idea. Put Lindy Ruff in charge of player development, and then you go for that new coach, which Kevin Dineen, I think, would be a perfect coach for this team. I would be all for bringing him up. And then letting him have a chance with this roster, because they obviously gave Ruff plenty of time with this roster. We were talking about last night. I think Lindy Ruff has 47 total wins since he's coached the Devils. It's like 47 in like 100 and something. He has 47 wins in over 100 something games. Claude Julien had 47 wins in one season and got fired.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
remember that.
Yeah, I don't want to keep making it about the Devils. Obviously, we got some things to do, but they need to get rid of the coach, and I think that's first and foremost. Whether who cares what role he has after this, but I think his days behind the bench are done.
I'm good with Kevin Dineen.
Getting to what's the podcast title, hell of a guy. Guy Lafleur, the original Flower, passed away this past weekend. 1,300 points, 5 Stanley Cup wins. Model human being. He was a plus 446 in his career. Plus 446. gentlemanly, had a great demeanor around Montreal. He was loved everywhere. And of course, which was great about this, not great about this because obviously he passed away, but the first game they have back as a team is against the Boston Bruins, a heated rival of his. And, all the fans were going bonkers and crazy and, really showing love for one of their top end players. You think about the players that have gone through Montreal Canadiens between, the Richards and Bellevue and Guy Lafleur and just keeps going on and on. He was one of the best, and it's a sad day for hockey fans, especially Montreal fans. But remembering a career like that is so it's so impressive and so incredible to look at and watch and go back to all the stats. And he just meant so much to everybody. So obviously it's a good remembrance. And Guy Lafleur, one of the great guys in hockey. So
I'll always remember his ESPN commercial. Everybody remember his ESPN commercial?
Yeah.
Who was he with? I was talking about he was talking about his last name. He's like Lafleur. That's got to be like a tough last name. What does that mean? Like
yeah.
Warrior or knight or something like that. And he's like, Lafleur is French for the flower.
The original flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome commercial.
I got to listen. So I was on the road to Kelly's house on Friday when it was when it came out that he had passed away. So I moved it over to the NHL channel on XM. Got to hear a lot of great recorded interviews with him. An interview with Scotty Bowman talking about bringing him into Montreal. Just a lot of great stuff about him that I didn't know, and just like the type of guy he was. So I was very happy to hear all that, and just to kind of get a inside track of that guy. He just seemed like the nicest damn guy. And talking about him coming in as 20 years old into Montreal and having kind of like a ho hum first season, but then going lights out in the next bunch of seasons, and talking about the contract, and they're talking about numbers. I think it was like a 10-year contract for like $1 million or something stupid like that, which is you hear that today, and you're like, holy crap, that's nothing.
It's league minimum.
I guess his father-in-law ran the Nordiques and was trying to bring him over there. So there was
he went to Quebec eventually.
Eventually, yeah, he did go to Quebec. But it was just it was just so cool to hear.
Yeah. We have to remember these guys like Lafleur, because we do on we talk about other podcasts, talk about these guys that just are not the best of human beings, and the controversies and what they are because they're hot topics or whatever. But we can't forget that guys like Guy Lafleur have played, and other guys that have just been just great people. Do a lot for their community, so much for the community. So much interacting with their fans, and just beloved everywhere they go. So it's good to hear these stories and have these stories come out. And just remember guys like this, because the guys from the past that were so great, and even guys currently who are really great too. So it's good to bring these guys up every now and then, not just when they pass away.
No, I know. Mm-hmm. In a 6-year span from 74-75 to 79-80, 6 years, he had 866 points. He was a plus 89 at one time in one season. His season high was 136. He was awesome. I remember him. Well, I don't really remember him as a Ranger. My dad showed me a couple clips and stuff. But, those long, blonde, flowing locks streaking down the left side wing, ripping shots. He was, a fun guy to watch. So, obviously, thoughts and prayers to him and his family and the Montreal Canadiens organization and their fans.
Real quick, in one of the interviews with Scotty Bowman, they were saying that in practices, that Lafleur could not figure it out on the power play in practice, but then would go out there in a game and just do what he had to do and score. So I thought that was really kind of interesting, that he just couldn't put it together in practice on the power play, but then would go out in the power play in a game and just destroy it.
Kasperi Kapanen is the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, looks great in practice and then just can't do anything else.
Poor guy.
Let's talk a little bit at some Florida teams. Jonathan Huberdeau breaks the assist mark for a left winger.
One Florida team.
Joe Juno. No, we're gonna get into the other one. Don't worry. Joe Juno was the player who you beat for the left wing assist mark. This happened in the same game that Tampa beats Florida. Steven Stamkos becomes the career
Smoked
points leader.
Florida.
Yep, he becomes the career points leader for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He is fourth in points since the 09 season behind Crosby, Kane, and Ovechkin. So here's my question to Schwim. Stammer's not brought in. Maybe so. Stammer's obviously. I think when you do tier system for the last 10 years, right? You'd put Crosby, Kane, Ovechkin on like one tier. Maybe Crosby, Ovechkin on one tier, Kane just below that. Then right below that is the Stammer, Malkin, those kind of guys. So do you think him A, getting hurt, B, never being a member of Team Canada, and C, him not being a big factor in their first cup win, do you think that really hurts him overall?
In what sense?
Grades.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like one of the
all time or Tampa grades?
Well, no. Of this generation grades. He's not in that Ovechkin Crosby state, but could he have been there if for those things?
If he's not hurt as often as he was getting hurt, he's way up there. He's well past. He probably hits this mark of breaking Marty St. Louis franchise record years ago. Like, he missed out on so much hockey for that little span where he's hurt like consistently almost every year, missing so many freaking games. Look at what he's doing. He's going to score most likely 100+ points this year. He's having one of his best seasons ever. I mean, man. I think if he doesn't get hurt, he's up there with like Ovechkin and Crosby in the same breath as them.
What's a bigger knock on him?
Crosby's been hurt just as much.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah,
so
what's the bigger knock on Stammer? Him not being a member of Team Canada, or him not being really a key piece in their first cup win? He had his Kirk Gibson moment where he scores the goal, but that was it, right? It was one game.
Yeah, that's about it. That's all he played. Yeah, he missed a ton of time that year too. I don't know. I don't think like either of them are knocks. Like, you don't think he's like one of the top players in the league still, and an eventual Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
I still think he's all that.
Missing the Olympics and like Team Canada events.
Yeah,
for some reason that hurts him in those.
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think it puts a knock on anything. I think it just sucks that he missed out on a lot of stuff.
What channel is the game on, by the way?
It's on ESPN Plus, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah,
I could stream it, but I'm not going to.
The other quick hit I had from Florida, the Tampa Bay loss stopped their 14-game win streak. And here's a fun stat for you. Yeah, well, that's what I meant. The loss to Tampa Bay. Here's a fun stat for you. There's never been a cup winner with a win streak of 12 or more games in a season. So don't put your money on Florida this offseason.
I could honestly see them absolutely shitting the bed once they get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they play like they did the other night against Tampa, good luck. They looked awful. And Tampa was playing well, but they looked really bad.
Spencer Knight started, and that's supposed to be like their saving grace of Bobrovsky Bobrovsky in the playoffs.
Bobrovsky came in and was like playing well in the beginning, and then Tampa just after settling into the game, they scored 3 on him.
Playoff Bobrovsky is a much different.
That's what I'm worried about in the
character.
playoffs. Like, he's not performed well in the playoffs, and I don't know if they're playing. Who are they destined to play right now? They're playing Washington first round right now.
Well, as it stands, yes, but it could be any of Washington, Boston, or Pittsburgh.
It could be Tampa too. If Tampa won't fall that far.
No, I don't think they can. I'm not sure. Let me look. At standings.
Boston's only what?
Tampa. Yeah, no. Technically, Tampa can. I guess if they lose out.
Well, the last game Saturday, right? For the regular season.
Tampa's got 3 games left.
Yeah, because I think the playoffs start on Monday.
Sundays there's one game.
I thought there was some random game.
It's like it's
like
Winnipeg, Seattle,
and Vancouver, Seattle. That's what it is.
Yeah, Sunday's
one of the things that
Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that the Panthers can't do in the playoffs, because if they do this like they've done in the regular season, they're going to be chasing series left, right, and center, and they're not going to do well. They had a very bad habit of doing things like they did with the Devils, going down 6-2, and then coming back and barnstorming back in a period to win it in overtime. If they're doing that in the playoffs, they're not going to go very far because they're going to be exhausted from chasing games like that in the third
Yeah,
period.
a lot of Florida has been just outscoring the other team and they score a lot and they're capable of doing it, but
they do.
That's not a great strategy for winning a cup. And you know what?
No.
You know what's actually what I was thinking of, because the top teams, or at least some of the top teams in the East right now. So you think Florida and Carolina, Tampa not as much, but Florida and Carolina specifically can be almost like a home game for a lot of these other teams in the East because of the amount of other fans that go to those games. I know when Pittsburgh plays both of those teams, it's like 50-50. And I'm sure they're going to try and, do something to prevent that from happening. But obviously they can't. And a lot of those teams, and I don't know if we have Florida or Carolina fans listening right now, but oftentimes when you see those places go crazy, it's because they're pretty far in the playoffs, right? They're like conference finals or so. It's like a wait out period. I'm not that interested in the first round of the playoffs, so you don't see a lot of the quote unquote home team fans, right? So the first round, it could be, depending on who some of these guys match up against, you could see a lot of the visiting teams' fans in attendance for both those teams. So that could certainly hurt both Carolina and Florida.
You know what I want to see at Florida's home games? I want to see a lot of plastic rats.
Yeah.
I want to see a lot. I want to see rats like in the 96 finals whenever they scored. That was the best. I would love to see that again. Just nothing but just a storm of rats coming onto the ice.
Those plastic rats. That was funny. Although they should have never been in that cup final. That was a travesty.
Yeah,
they got destroyed in that final.
Yeah, but you know what though? That would have been great to see Van Beesbrook win the cup with Florida though.
It would have been, but it didn't even come close. It was never competitive at any moment in that series.
Hey, at least there was a ton of rats when they did score at home, so that's all I care about.
True.
Those plastic rats.
Okay, so we'll finish up with a couple things before we head out. Did anyone see the Kuznetsov shootout attempt where he twirled his stick mid-shootout attempt? Yeah. So he's coming down
like
and he just kind of twirls his stick. Yeah, and then scored. And I guess a lot of people up in arms that he shouldn't be doing that. I mean, the thing I say is stop him because then he looks like a jackass. So if you stop that attempt, then he looks like the idiot, not the other way around. So
as long as it's not like something that might be like against the rules of a shootout, like stopping or reversing the puck, do whatever the hell you want to do. There's no showboating. It doesn't matter. Save the damn shot.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people were upset about the, I think it was Blake Wheeler, where he almost came to a full stop and scored. And then the game prior to that, Kuznetsov actually had the same kind of thing where he almost came to a full, complete stop, and then he scored. So I know that a lot of people are not happy with Evgeny Kuznetsov in his shootout attempts. But, like I said, stop him and you don't have to worry about it. Couple last things. I will have a trivia question, and good thing Shorts guy's here.
You see Eric Hollis' shootout attempt where he went to go touch the puck and he completely missed it, and then went back and got it and went down and scored.
Did he actually count?
Yeah, that counted.
So he didn't.
I thought if you passed that red line, that's your attempt.
No, he never touched it.
You don't touch the puck. Yeah,
he just completely whiffed on it, missed it, and then went back and took it and went down and scored.
That'll be the next move. That'll be the next thing everyone will try. They'll skate by the puck and then quick tight turn around the back and get it.
Ovechkin day-to-day with an upper body injury. The Maple Leafs signed the Hobey Baker winner, McKay, after his drug issue. The Masterson Trophy nominations, so just a couple quick names. You had Carey Price, obviously coming back from his mental illness. You have Ryan Getzlaf, Brian Boyle's on there. Couple other big ones quickly. The Rangers put Chris Kreider up there and wasn't really, it's kind of And then the name that I think should win is, a guy that, former Ranger, great human being, and what happened to him in the beginning of this year was just terrible. Kevin Hayes with the Philadelphia Flyers. I just think that with his brother and his injuries, just everything that's kind of come up against him, and you feel so much for the guy, and that really is perseverance to me. It's one of the worst things you can deal with in your life, right? Is the death of a loved one, and to have that be, your big brother, your role model, and then to come back and play and fight through injuries, and that would be my pick. But if you guys had anybody you liked, I know Tarasenko was also there, Jack Eichel.
No, Kevin Hayes is.
Yeah, I think Hayes.
he's been through a lot, and he's like you said, he's persevered through it all. Keep fighting through it all, and trying to, be some kind of normal, right? I can't imagine the feeling. So yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have, siblings or whatever, and can imagine trying to go through something like that, especially so heavily scrutinized as a professional athlete, right? So, I'd vote for the guy.
Yep.
All right,
last two
I'd
things.
Be good with Hayes or Price.
Yeah, both. Yeah, everybody on here. It sucks because everybody on here really is worthy of the award, but just a guy coming back from a knee injury versus like just something so tragic as a death. It's tough, right?
Yeah.
Quickly, also Maple Leafs. Lightning visited the White House. Biden the jersey. Stammer, one of the stars of the week. Obviously, the big game against Florida.
Number one star.
Yep. I also had Fiala up there, and Jonathan Quick had a really great run to pretty much put his Kings in the playoffs. Just quickly on the standings, we talked about the East, but in the Western Conference, you got Colorado, Minnesota, Vegas, St. Louis Blues. Nashville is on the precipice with 94 points. Dallas Stars right behind them at 93. In the Pacific, you got Calgary, Edmonton. Kings are at 96 points. They're most likely going to be in. Then the Vegas Golden Knights at 90. So 3 points separates the Knights from Dallas Stars with 3 games remaining. And I think one of those games is against Dallas Stars. So they, those last 2 games that they blundered really going to come back to hurt them in the long end.
Well, they lose to Dallas. That's their season. But they need more. They need more help,
right?
They need more help than just beating Dallas. But yeah, if they lose to Dallas, even in overtime, if they don't get that 4-point swing, they're toast.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, let's do the trivia question, and then we can get out of here. All right, so I had a good one, and I'm glad Shorts Guy's here so he can also weigh in. Prior to Martin Brodeur, what goaltender held the record for most minutes played in a season?
Yikes.
It's somebody we have no clue who it is.
Is this a goaltender in like the post-expansion era or an original 6 era?
Post-expansion.
Post-expansion. Okay. Post-expansion.
So currently, Brodeur holds 3 of the records. He actually holds the top 3, and then this guy sits at number 4. So Brodeur has the 46.97, the 46.35, and the 45.55. This player has 45.11. He played in the 2000s. I'll give you that one.
Okay.
He did not play for a very good team when he had this record.
Wow.
Played in the 2000s.
So Brodeur played in 78 games, 77 games, and 75 games to get his record. This player hit it in 77 games.
I have a guess.
I have a guess as well.
Just give me guesses.
Luongo.
No.
Kiprusoff.
No.
Ooh,
the
that's not a
Bakov's
good one,
up there, but not him.
You're
not. You guys are going to be so astounded by this name.
Oh God.
Shrimp, go really off the mark with whatever. It's not a star.
Craig Anderson.
Played in 2000s.
No. Anyone else got a guess?
Not
before
very
I pull
good
this one out?
team.
He
I don't
played
know.
in the he played in now what is the Metropolitan Division?
Oh man.
Kolzig?
He played for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, Christ. Pascal Leclerc?
No, not Pascal Leclerc.
Columbus Blue
Uh,
Jackets.
All right, I can
Freak.
give up. Mark Denis.
I was just going to say him.
Jeez.
Former
So-
Tampa Lightning.
So Mark
Wow.
Denis he played in 45-11 minutes. He played in 77 games. It should have actually been Grant Fuhr for the Blues back in the early 80s. He started in 79 games, but John Casey, and this was when Mike Keenan was the coach, he got pulled 20 times during the season, which was the reason why he lost it. And he got hurt for 3 games because that's when Keenan played his goalies all the time. He was actually going to play Grant Fuhr 82 games. But Fuhr got hurt, and then he also got pulled 20 different times for John Casey, and that's the only reason that he lost that. So pretty cool. But yeah, so
We'll never see
very
goaltending records like that again.
good. No, not at all.
There's a
All right, gents, how was your beers?
Delicioso.
Wonderful.
I give
I'll
my
give
I give
mine,
my water a 5.
4.
7.5.
4.0, bruh.
4.0, brah. All right,
Bruh.
Shrim, take her home.
In honor of, well, not honor, but Guy Lafleur's passing, I think we all deserve a shirtless picture of Guy Lafleur. If you can
None
see
of
it.
us can see. But thank you.
Yep,
None of us
see
can
that.
see.
Good job,
There
Shrim.
you go.
Thanks for your help.
Oh, there it is.
Hey.
I got my